Hey everyone, welcome to another Discount TED video. I think you can see me in the mirror, so I'm not going to bother turning my head around. Um, I uploaded a video at my last track day running into a whole lot of limp mode issues, and since then I've made a couple of updates and I have a track day at the end of this week, so I'm really hopeful that I've alleviated them. The first update I did is this car came with an MHD Stage 2 Plus tune. It does have, upgraded downpipes, intercooler, so, that tune makes a lot of sense. But all that extra power, extra boost, it just builds a lot more temperature. And that could cause my oil temperatures to go high and cause me to go into limp mode. So I reverted it back to an MHD Stage 0. I also learned, you probably shouldn't try and do a reflash using a Wi-Fi OBD adapter that you've never used before in the pits of the track event before lunch. Because what happened is, I had a dead MHD Wi-Fi adapter, and I ended up having to buy a different cable. So what I did is I started to reflash my car there in the pits and ended up bricking my ECU because it got halfway through the flash and didn't finish. It couldn't complete a flash. Fortunately, at the track, a lot of people have trucks and trailers, and a lot of them are pretty kind, and I was able to get someone to tow me home since I only live a few miles away from the racetrack. But yeah, it made for a stressful week, and I was pretty frustrated that I lost out on a bunch of track time that I paid for. So I went on Amazon and I bought this KD CAN USB cable. If you're not sure what cable to get, I took a chance on this because it was about $25 and I was willing to take that risk. Bimmer Geeks offers a cable for $45 that everyone has sworn by, and for $20 more to have a guaranteed thing, I can see the logic in that. Then again, this channel isn't logical spending TED, it's discount TED. So I found this for a discount at $25 instead of $45. I'll throw a link to it in the description, but it definitely works for me. I don't know if you can see, I also made a little mark here. It's got a 4-position switch, and all the way at the left here has worked for MHD. It also worked for NCS Expert, which I'll talk about what I did with that too. But I just used a Sharpie and just sort of marked it for myself so that if I ever come back to this 2 years from now or something, I just forget which position, I've got it marked. So, I bought this cable. I had a standard USB to USB-C adapter that would plug into my Android phone. In my case, it's just the one that came with my Dell laptop, but that plugged directly in, and my phone immediately recognized the hardware, and the MHD tune went perfect once I had a hard plug for it. So, um, if you're curious, I had the MHD orange Wi-Fi adapter. I still have it. I'll probably use it to read codes or whatever, but the problem I kept running into is I'd get about 15, 20 minutes into the flash, and I would lose connection. So as soon as you lose connection there, it just stops the flash altogether. So got the cable, went back to MHD stage 0. The other thing that I did is, after doing a bunch of research on particularly these e82s and N54 powered e82s, the 135i's, there's a ECU setting to reduce engine power when they detect that you might be overheating your brakes. Now, these cars don't have a brake temperature sensor. Instead, what they use monitoring on the ECU that you've done a bunch of hard braking events and a bunch of hard acceleration events, and they figure, you know what, you're probably overheating your brakes, so we'll pull engine power and put you in limp mode. I've upgraded brakes. I can pay attention to when I'm starting to lose brake pedal feel, and I don't need the computer doing that for me. So, um, I'll do a screen share and go over a bunch of that in more detail with my handy dandy laptop here. But I was able to download NCS Expert. I'll probably throw a link to a video or two. Actually, you can just do a good Google search of like how to download NCS Expert. I bought from NCS Expert, I bought their package for $20. I also bought the $10 PDF document for install guide. I actually recommend you do that. I am far from computer illiterate, but I'm also not a programmer. I work in product. but even with that, with the document, I was able to get it installed, but it took about an hour. It's a 55-page PDF, so it was quite a massive effort. Um, I'm glad that I did it, and so if I add the cable and my $20 NCS Expert download and my $10 document download, I'm in this of $55, something like that, and that's a pretty good value. The alternative, and I really strongly considered this alternative, was to use BimmerGeek's Pro Tool. So BimmerGeek's Pro Tool, you have to get the cable or some other Wi-Fi adapter, what have you. So you've got $45, $50 there as of it's September of 2023. So heaven knows what prices will be in a year. But you got to buy the cable. And then you have to buy the Pro Tool license, which they have coding and monitoring as two separate licenses. I think if I was going to do either, I'd just buy the package, both of them for, I think it's $150 is their master license. It includes both. And so around $200 to Bimmer Geeks. And what you get out of that is you get the cable and you get a Android app that really has a much easier to use user interface and process. What I wasn't 100% sure of in there, and I actually sent BimmerGeeks a message to find out, is I'm not sure that it could code out the couple of things that I wanted to. So I wanted to code out my electronic diff, since I have a mechanical limited slip diff installed, and that limp mode for sake of brake temperature. I wanted to code that out as well. So do I know if the Bimmer Geeks Pro Tool would have done that? I don't, because I didn't spend the $200 to find out, and they haven't messaged me back. It probably would, though. It sounds like they would from everything that I read. And instead, I spent a quarter of that, and I managed to get it done. Now, all that to say, I'm hopeful and confident that in my my track day in a week here, or at the end of this week, I won't hit limp mode. But the odds are strong that I'm still going to build up enough oil temperature that that limp mode will persist. And at that point, I need to look at additional oil cooling. I've done a bit of research on oil cooling options. Keep an eye out for more info. I think this track limp mode issue is going to continue to persist for me. I've got the camera mounted on my roll bar in the car. You can see that I'm in a very tight, uncomfortable seat. I've got my big old CAE shifter. This car's for the track, right? I'm going to figure out this limp mode thing. I'm going to figure out how to run 20 minutes of hard track time without going into limp mode, and I'll keep you guys posted on it. Evolution Raceworks right now looks like they have a absolute solution, but it is a almost $2,000 solution. So I'm gonna see if I can figure something out for less than that. And I'm not a skilled fabricator. I know some skilled fabricators, but I prefer to keep the solution to something that hopefully you guys can replicate. So maybe that'll be the Evolution Raceworks stuff. Maybe it'll be a different, bigger oil cooler kit. Maybe it'll be a universal oil cooler. I don't know. Let's just see how I do this week, and we'll go from there. Okay, hey everyone. So this is a quick guide to how I used NCS Expert and NCS Dummy to code out my limp mode with limp mode from potential brake overheating. So the first screen that I've got up here, this is INPA. This comes with the whole download from NCS Expert. There's a link to that in the description. But this shows that the cable is connected and that ignition is on. So really all that I'm using this for is to verify and show that, okay, great, my cable connection is working and my computer is aware of the car computer and the car computer is communicating with it. So since I know that everything's working there, I'm just going to close this. It asks, do you want to quit? I do. And then here is NCS Expert. So when you first open NCS Expert, you don't have any profiles open. So I need to go to File, Load Profile. And I've got a whole bunch of profiles in here. It depends how you download it and how you install it, which profiles you have. You can use expert mode. You can use expert man. I'm using RevTur's NCS expert profile. That just came with the installation. Actually came suggested by NCS expert when I downloaded from them. So I'll click OK there, and that'll go ahead and open up a session. So now I need to, I believe, choose a chassis. So here we've got all of our chassis listed. I'm in an e82 135i, but that's e89 chassis as far as this is concerned. So that's all the e82 1 series. I think e83 is the convertible, and also all of the e90 series 3 series. So I'll click OK there. That shows my chassis selected. Then I want to choose an ECU. No, I don't want to choose an ECU yet. I want to start. Let me see, start. Okay, and then I think choosing the ECU I want is like this enter ZCS button. It's poorly labeled. You just kind of have to fiddle with it. I'll show you what you want to be careful with of clicking. Like, don't fiddle with process ECU or process car. That will run your entire ECU back to stock. So it's not that. I think it's chassis. That's what it is. So after you choose a chassis, you hit start. Then you can choose which ECU you want to pull from. I'm going to pull from the CAS. Truthfully, I don't know the difference with these other ECUs, but this, I think, worked for me. I haven't actually driven the car hard enough yet to know if it helped with my limp mode at all. So I'll hit OK. And now it's gone and pulled some info from my car. You can see, great, it's got my VIN, and it shows, E82 and some other, looks like maybe encoded values. So now I think if I go back, so now we've got the cars connected, and we see our job name. We also see all of our different modules here. We're going to click Process ECU to choose which ECU we want to update. So I'm going to click Process ECU, and it gives me all the different ECUs that I can read from. The one that I want to deal with for the automatic limp mode for potential brake overheating is in DSC. So I'm going to click DSC and OK. And here it's going to show a CBD name, and I'm going to need that when I go to NCS dummy. It's mk60_87.c03. It also shows that to me after I close this, but if you want to be sure, you can always screenshot this or just make a note of that. However, it's easiest for you to remember it. So I'm going to click OK. And then before I click execute job or read or change or anything like that, what I need to do is update my job name. So we've got SG coder in, that means write. I want to click change job. And really, I've got two options that I'm interested in here. There's coder-rated lesson or coder Dayton lesson. I'm not German, so I apologize. But that's essentially read ECU, and then SG coder in is write ECU. So I'm going to select the read option, coder Dayton lesson, hit OK. And then I'm going to click read ECU. So it's going to go through, and there, I know it's done. I've got my, new notepad, and I'll close this. Now I'm going to switch over to NCS dummy. So what that did is it downloaded an updated file in NCS dummy. So here's NCS dummy. It's got my chassis. It remembers what you chose previously, last time you used it. Then I need to choose my module. And so this is where I need to remember what that module number was. And I already forgot what it is, so I'm going to Alt tab. It's MK6087C0C. So MK. Keep scrolling. Okay, MK6087C0C. Let me double check before I get excited. MK6087C0C. MK60_87C0C. Perfect. Okay. So now we need to attach the file which NCS Expert exported for us when I clicked read ECU. So now I'm going to click browse. And it's automatically going to open me to this NCS Expert work file. There are a number of other videos out there that'll show you where those are. I mean, I guess I might as well do it. So under installation, you'll go to local disk C. You'll see this NCS Expert not expert, but exper file. And then there's this work folder. Then if I look, I can see at 9:17 today at 2:39 p.m., about a minute ago, this TRC file was generated. That's the file that I want. So it's easiest to just look at, when it was last modified. So I'll go ahead and click this TRC, open. And now that worked appropriately. Normally, well, if you have some sort of error, it'll tell you right down here, but it said, great, it loaded the trace file. So that means that I got the right trace file for the right module. And what NCS Dummy has done here is essentially given me like a nice user interface to choose between the different options that are available to code in this module. So not everything has an explanation, like model variant value 2 doesn't mean a whole lot to me, but we're able to find the things that we need in here. So if I scroll down a bit, I can see the first thing here is diff lock. By default, it's value 2. And when you choose value 0, value 1, that's actually going to disable the ediff. And the ediff uses the brakes to make sure that I'm applying power to each side. I have a mechanical limited slip diff, so I don't need ediff to do that for me, and have disabled it. The next item, if I keep scrolling down, I'm going to see the engine power reduction, prevent brake disc overheating by reducing engine power. This is specifically what I really wanted to come in and make sure I cleared off. Default on that one is value 1, and when I click value 0, value 2, I've disabled it. So you'd go through, find whatever items you want to update. I don't have a great dictionary for what modules have what controls. I just know that this DSC module was the one that had all the info I wanted to modify. So I can scroll through, see some of the other options here, but really once you make the changes that you want, you just check, uncheck items that you want, and then you'll click export FSW, PSW, and you'll export the .man file. So when you export that, what it's going to do is save a new file to your to that work folder, and then you'll come back into NCS Expert. You'll go back to change job. You'll go back to SG Coderin, and then you'll click execute job. And what that'll do is it'll just write that updated file that NCS Expert or NCS Dummy wrote and saved for you. It'll write that back to your car with whatever modifications you set up in NCS Dummy. So once it's done, you'll hear a little chime on your dash. Just turn your ignition back off, take the key out, put the key back in, start it up, and you're all set. So again, this is not a thorough, full NCS Expert walkthrough. There are a few other videos like that. It's not a full, thorough review on how to install NCS Expert. But hopefully it's something that you guys find valuable. And I'll report back what I find out after my track day. Hopefully I have fewer or zero limp mode issues, but we will see. I'll record a video while I'm out there, and we'll link back to this one when it's all set. Thanks, everyone.